All right, so this is how you're going to take your brainstorming sheet and turn it into your rough draft. We're going to focus on your body paragraphs first. There are separate checklists depending on which writing prompts you chose to do. So first, make sure you have the correct one. So it's up here that says prompt 1, okay? And the first thing we always do with any body paragraph is start with our topic sentence, and that is what the paragraph's going to be about. So basically, you're going to start with step 3 on your brainstorming sheet and write in full complete sentences in the order, okay, all the way through step 3. So in your first sentence, you want to make sure that you state which myth you're writing about. In writing prompt 1, the lesson and the story, and the character or characters that you're going to focus on that teach the lesson. So an example, in the myth, the labors of Hercules, the character Hercules teaches, in this case it would be teaches, the audience the lesson that you could always be forgiven if you make amends for what you've done wrong. And then you can add a transition word and provide your context. And that is what, when we look at the brainstorming sheet here, right, so that is describing with how the character is at the beginning of the story, right? So this is all context. So that's what we're doing here in your rough draft, right? Providing the context for your story. I'll give you a couple examples here. Provide your quote that you've numbered number 1 from the text that you've highlighted, right? Introduce it, write the quote, cite the quote, okay? Write, introduce, write, cite. And then you're going to do a transition word, and then you're going to put describing the events that caused the character. That should also be right off of your brainstorming sheet, the events that cause the character to change, right? And so you're going to put that here next in your body paragraph with the quote, introducing, writing, and citing your quote, and then another transition word and more context, right? Describing the character at the end of the story. Again, right off your brainstorming sheet, right? Describe the character at the end of the story, and then your quote, right? So I'm basically taking you down this right in order. We have our topic sentence, and then it goes in order all the way through A and your rough draft, and then you are going to conclude with what is 3B on your brainstorming sheet, right? Which is what is the lesson that is revealed, okay? And then I give you an example here for that. I'm then going to do the same thing with a new paragraph for the second myth, which is step 4. Okay, so if you were doing writing prompt 2, it's the same. You're going to take your brainstorming sheet and turn it into your body paragraphs, your topic sentence. Make sure you have the myth, the god or goddess, and the character affected. Those are the 3 important things in your writing prompt. So in the myth, the origins of the season, the god Hades affected Demeter through his or her actions, right? And then your transition word, providing context, describing the actions of the god or goddess in your own words. Again, that is 3A off your brainstorming sheet. Right, here we go, 3A, describe the action of the god or goddess, right? And I'm going to take you right down 3A in order on your checklist, telling you where to put in your transition words. That's kind of the big thing. So transition word, your context first. Oops, that shouldn't be capital. When Hera went in search of Zeus, she was met and detained by Echo. When she realized Echo was deliberately preventing her from catching Zeus in his bad behavior, Hera grew angry with Echo. She punished Echo by cursing her voice to only repeat others forever. So that's what Hera did to Echo. And I would provide a quote, introducing my quote, writing the quote, citing my quote, right? And I give you an example here and how to cite it, last name, page number. Then you add your transition word, and it's the next thing. How did the character respond? That's right off your brainstorming sheet, right? What's the mortal character's response, right? And so I would say, actually, Echo's not really immortal, she's a nymph, but you know, what was the response, right? And then my quote, introduce, write, and cite, and then my transition word as a result or in response, the long-term effects on that character or other characters, right? From the god's goddess' actions, Echo ends up dying. She leaves her voice. We hear her voice all the time, right? We have the creation of echoes. So you have your quote, introduce, write, and cite. And then what does the audience learn from the effects of the god or goddess's action. So that would be what you wrote in 3B, right, down here, right? In your paragraph, that's what you're going to conclude your paragraph with. Or if he's failed in his quest to bring Eurydice back, because the condition Hades placed and released from this, reader learns that the Greeks saw death as being more powerful than love. And then a new paragraph for the second myth, and that would be step 4. And for writing prompt 3, again, it's exactly the same thing. You're going to take your brainstorming sheet, turn it into a body paragraph. You need to put the myth, the god or goddess, character affected, and whether the actions were fair. So you have 4 things to put in your topic sentence. In the myth, the labors of Hercules, the goddess Hera treated Hercules unfairly. Okay, and then a transition word. And then the context, describe the actions of the god or goddess in your own words. Be specific. And I did the same thing again. There we go. And so in the brainstorming sheet, right, it's right here. Oops, that's 4. There we go. Writing prompt 3, analyzing the first myth. Write the title of the first myth, right? And this is step 4 for you, not step 3. And then you could describe the action of the god or goddess, highlight the quote, the mortal character's response, and then whether or not it was fair. So again, I'm going to take you right down this in order with the checklist, right? So transition word context. When Hera went in search of Zeus, she was met and detained by Echo, right? And then grew angry. And then I guess it's very similar to the previous one. I gave you the same example because it's pretty similar up until the end. Your quotes, introduce, write, and cite, transition word, context again, the long-term effects, and then why the actions of the god or goddess were fair or unfair. This is where this writing prompt is different from the previous one. You're focusing on the action you think was fair or unfair, not the effect. So this is 4B on your brainstorming sheet. Although it's understandable that Aphrodite would be angry with Narcissus, her actions didn't allow for him to learn from his mistake or become a better person. Therefore, the curse was unfair. Okay? And then a new paragraph for your second myth, step 5 on your brainstorming sheet, and you follow the same thing again right off your brainstorming sheet. If you have any questions, you can ask for help in class. You should have your brainstorming sheet and the checklist out in front of you and be able to refer to them. But I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify any confusion that you have on it. When you are done, you should end up with 2 body paragraphs, 1 for each myth, then indented, double-spaced, etc. We'll add the introduction in before both body paragraphs and the conclusion after. As always, your best option is always to spend the most time on your body paragraphs, since that's where the bulk of the grade is going to come from, the analysis. And just as some reminders, the titles of myths, because they're considered short stories, go in quotation marks. They're not italicized. So I'll give you an example here. There are examples in the writing prompts. You should use them and follow those examples. And when you are quoting dialogue, put the entire quotation in double quotation marks and replace in the story where there are double quotation marks with single ones. So you can refer to your green notes in your binders for all the rules.